What is good, guys? This is Charles from Team COG coming in at you guys here with my Infernoble deck profile, Sinless deck profile. It is pure of heart, no sins. I ended up taking this to back-to-back locals technically, and I ended up going undefeated Friday night and went 3-1 Saturday day, and ended up bubbling. I didn't make top 4. I was 5th place. It sucks, but it is okay. So overall, the record was 7-1 with the deck. This deck list was heavily inspired by Triff.
Let's go!
From his YCS Indie Menadium theory, or his Menadium profile that he put his theory behind. So I decided to take that theory and smack it into here and see if it could be implemented, and it is done phenomenal in testing. There are a lot of things a lot of hills I'm going to die on for this deck because my theory and my deck building and my stuff is different than maybe more of the more popular YouTubers out there, such as Pack and stuff like that. However, in test, I can't argue with you guys, and testing is done fantastic. I do a lot of theory crafting and a lot of in-person testing. And I don't do as much online testing as I should, but hopefully I'll get better at that. But for the most part, the list has performed phenomenal. There's very little things I'd change. My extra deck, or excuse me, not my extra. My extra deck's pretty, I like my extra deck, not gonna lie, but my side deck is something that I would like to tinker around with and get more fine-tuned. But the main deck-wise, the cards and my side deck and patterns are really good, and I'll explain that kind of going into it. But if you guys want to help support the channel, think about hitting that subscribe button, not subscription, but hit that subscribe button down below. Give the video a like. Comment down below your guys' success and everything like that. And if you guys really want to help support the channel, think about becoming a member and getting knighted, getting some perks and rewards, and just giving to the channel, so then I can potentially in the future look into getting editors and just making it easier to make videos and stuff like that. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the deck profile. So to start out, guys, with my list, I am on to 3 YuGiOh. This is the second best normal summon in the deck, and this is one of the major hills that I will die on. I believe you should not play. I do not like the 1-1-1 strategy where everybody's playing one of the names. Yes, I know they're all super surgible. Yes, I know that they're all normal summonable. But YuGiOh is by far the best out of them all, and you would want to maximize the best consistency of opening your second best normal summon, because the best normal summon's Connector. We can't even lie there. But YuGiOh is really good. We did some statistics, right? And I'm not going to go ahead, disclaimer, I am not bashing on the Sinful Spoil engine. I know its power. I know what it can do. I know it's great. I know it has some cool utilities that the pure list do not have, but there's just some things that I'll bring out to the table. One of the biggest tables about the Sinful Spoil engine is that it allows you to play through Nibiru. It allows you to beat hand traps. Yes, it does, but if you play YuGiOh at a max, or at anything 2 or 3 copies, along with Renaud at 2 or 3 copies, you are more statistically going to open YuGiOh plus Renaud than you will be to open the 1 of Wanted. Or not the 1 of Wanted, but open the 3 of Wanted, essentially. You won't only see 1 of the Wanted, is what I'm trying to get at. So that's what gives the pure list, in my opinion, and why I'm not a big fan of what the Sinful Spoil stuff does. However, there are some things that I do enjoy what it does, but I believe you should play anywhere between 2 to 3 YuGiOh. You don't have to play 3, but I don't think playing 1's correct. Like I said, why would you play one of the best second normal summon in your deck when in conjunction with a higher percentage? You play 3 Heritage of the Chalice, you play 3 Museums, you play 2 Durandal, you play Reinforced Army, you play 9 different ways to get to the card. But why would you want to waste 2 of your search cards getting to this combo when if you just open YuGiOh, you can use Durandal to grab you Renaud, and you've already facilitated everything you need for Gearfried. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. Anyway, I like 3. Worst case scenario, man, it's a great pitch off of Dolphin. I mean, seeing 3 ain't too bad, but when I go to side deck, 1 does come out for sure, so that's part of my side decking patterns. 1 always comes out when I side deck going into game 2. But anyway, moving on, I am on to double Renaud. Renaud is behind that theory. I don't think this card is the best extender the deck has. It only conflicts with the Zoldan Connector, and what it does for the deck is phenomenal. It becomes a level 1 tuner, it allows you recursion from the grave or banish, and it just helps facilitate either Isolde or Angelica. It also is part, again, of the anti-hand trap line with Gearfried. So you have a 44-point-some% chance to either see YuGiOh plus anyway to Renaud, or vice versa, where I believe statistically you have only an 11% chance to open a 1 of Wanted. So, but me saying this right here doesn't mean you can't fit in the Wanted engine with this list already, right? So you deck build, you do you. I understand the Wanted package is kind of expensive, and if you can't afford it, you can't. That's okay. But anyway, to Renaud. Renaud, I believe it shouldn't be a 1 of. You could say it could be a 3 of, but you could make it a 2 of. It's the logic of 1's too little, 3's too many, 2's just enough sort of thing. But I've enjoyed this ratio. I've not regretted cutting it down at all. There were some instances where if you play 3 Renaud, you end up seeing 2 of them, and 2 of them's kind of bad. Even though 2 is still technically combo. Normal Renaud, Special Renaud, make Isolde combo. But yeah, and also there is like an anti-Nibiru line with Connector. It's like Connector plus Renault, or pretty much any 2 warriors plus access to Renault gets you to the ability to not really anti-Nibiru, but play through Nibiru. You threaten your 5th summons Renault, and you're not warrior locked, so pretty much they either have to nib you at that point, or you make Apollosa, or and then if they do nib you, you already added back Recursion. You already have like the stuff to play through the Nibiru. So that's why I wanted to like capitalize. Like I think 2 is a good number for Renault, but anyway. Under the 1-ofs, 1 Magius, 1 Ricardetto, 1 Turpin, and 1 Oliver. These cards are really good. Magius is really great in the grind game. Ricardetto's part of the combo, but also can be an extender by banishing him from hand or grave. Turpin's part of the combo. Oliver is a fantastic extender that allows us to push through disruptions and to make Angelica and stuff like that. It also allows our Charles to not have to waste its negate on like something like Imperm, which is really nice, especially when you go full combo in the deck and you're able to get like Angelica's Angelica Ring. The worst feeling ever is Imperm on Charles. You have to use Charles in a gate, and then they fire down like a what do you call it?
A few moments later.
A bait spell, and the bait spell hits Angel Ring, then they hit you with like Super Poly or some like blowout card or something like that. So it's pretty nice to have the ability to like dodge things like Imperm. Like they can't just waste Imperm on Charles and stuff like that. But this is it for the Infernoble lineup. I actually really like this lineup. I think this feels more fulfilling and more like Infernoble than it does playing one of every card. One of my buddies, Emmanuel, he ended up testing the list, and he really did not like the list that played one of every name. He really was not a fan of it, and I kind of see why, because there's certain times where like you open 1-ofs, like in theory, right? You'll open 1-ofs, and the only 1-ofs you're going to open is always going to be the 2 1-ofs you never want to see, which is like Ricardetto and Magius here. So you might as well just increase the count of like the ones you want to see, because like I said, you want to see Ogier. If you don't see Connector, you want to see Ogier plus a way to Renaud, or Renaud plus a way to Ogier, and you'd want to max out, or like not max, you'd want to have a higher percentage to do that. If you wanted to max out, you play 3 Renaud, but I don't think 3 Renaud is the way. But that's it for the Infernoble cards. Like I said, nothing much I would change. When I do side deck, like I said earlier, one Ogier always does come out. So there you go. That's one of my side decking patterns that I kind of do. Like I said, this list is not gospel. This list is just what suits me and does like well for me. Moving on to just fire warrior extenders, or just warrior extenders in general. Double red layer and 1 flint lady. I was onto this even before YCS Richmond came out, and I'll go ahead and say that Quantum Red Layer is a phenomenal card. This card threatens so much stuff, especially with the field spell. The field spell is like a 1-card combo, like going second in a way that it lets you just like out like certain problematic cards by just going Museum, Durandal, Red Layer. Pretty nice. However, I do have one instance that popped up yesterday at the locals, which makes me justifies me to wanting to do this. I've brought up Shade Brigadine as a warrior extender. Yes, it's a trap, but you can activate the turn you set if you don't control any traps. The issue I had was I opened 2 red layer, and the theory that I have with playing like an additional warrior extender, besides playing 2 red layer, is that these 3 cards like red layer and flint lady make Isolde without my normal summon. Red layer, don't do anything. I end up having red layer in my hand as a brick. So if I play a different warrior extender name, pretty much like these 3 cards will work in conjunction with any other warrior and themselves in any sort of fashion. One instance that I do not like red layer is where it's a great special summon to get a warrior to stick on your board, but it puts you one more summon into Nibiru that you can't put up a Nibiru line. And it puts you in that awkward spot where it's like, do you special red layer, normal connector, and it risks connector getting hit with a hand trap? And if it does, you still have Isolde, or do you like special red layer, normal connector, get Dolphin, see Nib, and you are going to lose them because you're 1 summon into it because of red layer. Same issue that I don't like Fenrir in the main deck either, is because of that same issue. You got to make sure it's the first thing you do, and by doing it, it puts you 1 more summon closer to eating that Nib. But definitely would look into something like Shade Brigadine, or like look into like another warrior extender. So that it would be like 1/1/1, so that like these 3 cards will always work in conjunction with any of your Infernobles too. Shade Brigadine has a lot of utility. It's a level 4. Sometimes if like you hate Tear as much as I do, maybe you'll have like some trauma and some emotional damage, and you'll want to make like Dweller before you get warrior locked, which is something you can do. But anyway, onto like one of the MVPs of the deck is Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. This card is insane. I remember playing it at 2, and I just would always like that's a hill that I did die on, was playing it at 2, and then eventually I got tired of seeing double Gearfried. It always sucked seeing Gearfried at 2. So I cut it down to 1, and I have not regretted it. Do not regret that mistake. It's super searchable and super attainable through Isolde and or Ogier. Now onto the best normal summon in the deck is Triple Dolphin not Triple Dolphin, Triple Dolphin and 1 connector, excuse me. Triple connector and 1 Dolphin. These, arguably, you could even say Dolphin's like a better normal summon. So like, just because sometimes like normal summon Dolphin doesn't mean your connector loses dash or Imperm, you know what I mean? However, this is like the best normal summon in the deck. I remember a long time ago, I made a video when everyone was up in arms at what one card is old you should play. I was like, guys, play Connector. Yeah, it's not fire, but it gives you hand knowledge, and hand knowledge is literally key to winning some of our games and constructing our boards. And people fought me, and their comments have not aged well, because literally every successful list, minus I think 1 or 2, were playing like a boxer package, which surprises me that they didn't lose to like getting just blown out by hand traps, especially with the amount of hand traps we can play in the format. Regardless, this card allows you to check hands. And let me tell you guys something. The best thing about this is you go Connector, see their hand, you see anything like Droplets, Dark Ruler, Super Poly, you automatically know you have to almost go into Isolde. It automatically guarantees you have to go into an Isolde line, because you got to get access to Angelica's Angel Ring. If you don't hard open it, that's the way you do it, is go through Isolde. So it lets you see that and get that knowledge. You almost don't care about really if you get to pitch a card or not from their hand. Is just knowing what's in their hand and just knowing that you can like have the free range to make your board the way that you want to make it, or make your board constructed around their hand to where you know they're not going to win. Like, especially if you see a handful of spells, you see one of the blowout spells, you know that you might need to make Double Charles. Double Charles and Angelic Rings, that means the Double Charles will stop the bait spells they have, and you have the Angelic Ring to answer the blowout spell. And there you go. But anyway, that is it for the monsters. Like I said, heavily inspired by Triff's Manadium list. No hand traps in the main deck besides Infirm. Infirm is just a phenomenal going first and going second card, I believe, so like that's why we're playing it. But nothing, like I said, nothing I would really change. Honestly, if you guys wanted to, you could probably cut 1 red layer, cut an Ogier, and fit in like 1 more card and play a 41 card list. But I just don't. I like 3 Ogier, and like I said, I would want to rather play a different extender than like the red layer. But anyway, again, we'll move on to the equip spell part of the deck. I play 2 Durandal, 1 Joyous, 1 Almas. I know some people are like, you should play 3 Durandal, but again, Durandal is very interesting because like once you use its first effect, it's very similar to like you use the first effect to add it, the second copy's dead. So I think 4 names is perfect. Almas is insane. It's recursion from the grave or banished if you don't use its, if it just gets what it's equipped to get sent to the graveyard. And then it can be any other name you need it to be. Joyous is definitely the weakest link, and arguably if I wasn't still on, I wouldn't play Joyous if I wasn't playing King Arthur in the extra deck. And I like the Arthur lines. Arthur, in my opinion, is not bad. We'll get to Arthur in a little bit. But Joyous is really cool in the sense that it does have recursion to add back, so it lets you get access to Gearfried, it lets you special summon from hand, which is part of the Arthur line to make a 1-card combo with Connector, which you can also do with Dempsey, but you get to utilize Joyous. And it's also like, it's Charles' Sword, man. It's definitely, like I said, the weakest out of all the equips, but if you're going to play it, I believe you need to play it at its max ability. Even if playing it at its max ability still makes it the weaker of the Noble Arms, you still want to utilize it, in my opinion. Onto the other 3 equip spells is 1 DDR, 1 Divine Sword Phoenix Blade, 1 Angelica's Angelic Ring. These 3 are pretty insane. This card is a phenomenal extender. You never really care to open, like you don't mind opening DDR because it's like a monster reborn. Angelica's Angel Ring is definitely a brick. You never want to see it. You want to send it off as old, but this card literally is what gives us the ability to not lose anymore. It's what gives us that like 9 out of 10 win rate if we go first, because it's like whatever blowout cards you're siding in are most normally spells, and Angelic's Ring just stops them. Divine Sword should probably be banned, I ain't gonna lie, even though it's not really like doing anything along with, since like the 1 card. Smoke Grenade got banned, so it is what it is. There is a new card coming out that could replace this if this card gets banned, but I don't foresee Konami hitting this card. Maybe they do, maybe Infernobles are getting popular enough that it is time to hit this card. We will see in the future. Moving on to just like all the rest of the like Noble Arm stuff. 3 Heritage of the Chalice, 3 Museum. I don't think you should play Terraforming. I think Terraforming is just asking to lose to Droll more, just because like you already play so many. You play 6 copies of the Noble Arms Museum. I understand how important this card is, and I understand how great it is going first and going second, hard opening it, especially since it's not hard once per turn. But you don't want to lose to cards like Droll, especially since you play so many Rotas in the deck. It'd really suck for you to go Terraforming, opening like Chalice, opening Chalice, reinforce the army, and then like some non-engine, right? And then you go Terraforming into Museum and you get Drolled and you lose. You just lose because of Terraforming. Whereas you could fire off any of your other spells, and or Terraforming could also be like a normal summonable warrior, so it makes it less, less likely. But anyway, remember Chalice can grab Noble Arms from the graveyard as well, so like you don't always have to grab from deck, but Heritage can also search this. And Heritage can search any of your Noble Knights, any of your Noble Arms. It's awesome. This card right here allows you to search any of your Noble Arms by paying 12. And then if you special summon, it allows you to special summon Fire Warriors, or I believe just Warriors from the Spell and Traps card zone up, as long as you use the first effect, which is nice. That effect is what Warrior locks you. I've had this deck proxied like second day of the new support being announced, and I still thought once you paid 12 you were warrior locked. So it goes to show like you can be as thorough with the deck as you want, but you'll still like kind of miss things. But moving on, I'm onto like these are probably, instead of hand traps, I'm playing like triple tactics and 1 call by and triple droplets. In my opinion, these could honestly be hand traps if you want to play that list, and there is room to fit in 12 hand traps. I thought 12 hand traps was too much because you have a 33% chance, I believe, to open 1 hand trap if you play 12, and then it drops significantly low to open 2. And in this meta and the format you're playing in right now, 1 hand trap ain't going to be enough. You want to see 2, and it's just statistically so low to see 2. So I'd rather see cards like droplets and stuff like that. Triple T, in my opinion, is a hard going first card. I normally side it out for better going second cards. However, when you lose a dice roll and you are going second, not by choice, by decision, you get to Triple T some things. Triple T can still Baron, Triple T can still Little Knight. Then you can like link off because they're warriors and stuff like that. You can utilize them. Not much more can be said. This deck literally screams hand trap, and sometimes like your deck is so much gas that they hand trap you, and you can just loop. So they hand trap you so they pretty much loop themselves for 2 cards is what I'm trying to get at, because you normal summon, they hand trap you, special summon, or you go Triple T, look at their hand, loop another card, and then just continue on your day like nothing happened, go full combo. So that's why I like Triple T. It just allows us and gives us that versatility. Sometimes you have to draw 2 cards, sometimes you open very subpar, and you gotta draw 2, and it is what it is. That's why it's there. But the card that did the most work was Droplets. Again, inspired by Triff, and his theory was Droplets was like a phenomenal go first or go second card. Going first, you just set it, very similar to Inperm, right? You open it, you go first, you just set it. And then Droplets going second along with Inperm, like Droplets off of the rip of the 6th card can break boards. And like it just does so much. You end up ending on so much stuff too, like the field spell plus Angelica plus a tons of equips. Droplets can literally like negate an entire like board of like 5+ monsters without like still keeping your full combo, like double Charles and Gearfried, or Little Knight Charles Gearfried, right? So it is pretty nice. We are on to last spell is 1 Rhoda. This searches any and every monster in your deck besides the red layer. So it's your 4th copy of Connector, and it's your like 2nd copy of everything else. Literally the deck is like so searchable. However, again, I know like if it's so searchable, you should play less copies, but you always want to like, you could always use those searches for better things. To the final 3 cards in the deck, I'll quickly go through it real quick. 3 Imperm, not much more can be said. Fantastic card going first, fantastic card going second. Sometimes with Droplets, you don't want to waste your 1 Imperm on their board because, like I said, most decks can play through 1 interruption, so you just hold it for Droplets, and then you can just like Droplet stuff away. You can actually like Droplets for less, because if you end up going into second, you can activate Infinite Impermanence, target a card, right? And then you can go Droplets, send the Imperm along with like another card, right? And negate like 3 monsters in conjunction. So it's like, it's pretty cool. Again, it also allows you to shut off floodgates if you need to, but it's the only hand trap, and I say quotations hand trap, that I'm playing. But again, it's a card like I'm okay with ripping. I'd rather rip this than an Effect Veiler as my 6th card, and my luck is just horrible, so that'll always happen. We'll quickly run into the extra deck. Inte, you gotta play the Fire Lion. We are the standard Infernoble lineup is double Charles, double Isolde, 1 Roland, 1 Charles, and 1 Angelica. This is standard. I believe that this should be the lineup you play for any Infernoble list you're playing, regardless of what variant you be playing. I play 1 Artorgus because I like Artorgus. I think that Artorgus, so Dempsey and Artorgus do the same thing, but Dempsey cannot do what Artorgus does, and that's just about it. Most normally, if I end up opening with just a 1-card combo, I like Connector or any 2 warriors to get to Isolde, etc. I normally go for this line because you get to utilize Joyous to its fullest extent. You get to make Rattan, and Rattan can be like a solid disruption, because sometimes you don't end on like an extra body to be able to make Little Knight, so like you might as well just end on something like Rattan, which is like a weaker, like Rattan's a Little Knight at home, not gonna lie. But Arthur's pretty cool. It does give us like in-deck spell and trap removal, which is nice, but you definitely don't have to play him. I like him, that's about it. Like I said, this is another hill I'll die on. I like Arthur. I will die on the fact that Arthur is a good, especially since we have the space, you should play Arthur. But there's definitely more and other things you can play. Build your deck the way you want to. The only thing I think is standard and you have to play is this lineup here. But moving on, we'll go into the links. I play 1 Link Spider, 1 Little Knight, 1 Rattan, and 1 Apollosa. So these right here, I think, are just your generic Link Spider, because, you know, if you get nibbed early on and you aren't warrior locked, you can make Link Spider, and then you can special summon out another monster, make Little Knight, and then you're in the Little Knight control. If you are onto the Sinful Spoil package, it lets you link off the token to allow you to send it send the effect monster to the graveyard because you can't send a token to the graveyard. Little Knight, we don't need to talk about it. Card is format warping. It is busted. Probably should not exist. Retin is Little Knight at home, but it also gives us... Retin does some things that Little Knight can't do, such as be a bigger body, and allows us to pop things when we go to the battle phase. Like, Retin can't be outed by just literally normal summon something 1700 attack at whack. But something to note real quick, Magius allows us to beat that. If you make Little Knight, you equipped Magius to it, or Magius, excuse me, and then Little Knight just can't be beat over, which is pretty nice. And then once you use Little Knight's effect to leave, Malgus will get you a draw. Apollousa, it's just in here as a big link for that we can make. We can threaten it as our 6th summon, so we can push some things. We're allowed to make it before we get warrior locked. Some of the best boards, actually not going to lie, is ending on like a 3-map Apollousa with 2 Charleses, so it's like you literally have like 6 forms of disruption, and anytime they threaten to go battle phase to whack over Apollousa, you just pop whatever they have on the field with like Roland and Charles. It's pretty nice. But that's it for the extra links. I would say, again, if you don't play Artorigus, you don't have to play Retin, so you're able to free up like 2 spots, but it's entirely up to you. This is a Sinless list, so you have extra deck space and stuff like that. 1 Dempsey, 1 Sky Crisis. Dempsey's insane. Again, like most of the times, if I have to use Durandal to like combo through or to combo off, Dempsey's the way to go. If you only have like the 2 warrior or 1 warrior combo, Dempsey's really nice to add. Sky Crisis is just here because it's such a solid card. Like most of the times, like when I play the deck and I open in-engine and stuff like that, I can crack a board, but they'll have like 1 monster left that I can't get rid of, and you just smack on Sky Crisis, solve it, and there you go. This card is not too scary against us, I'm not gonna lie, because it says you normally can't out Charles, and then it has to bounce either Charles or Gearfried, but it can't whack over the other. You just literally, against this card, you could just go battle phase, attack over it, then all your big monsters' effects are live and stuff like that. So do keep that in mind. I used to be terrified of this card. I thought, dang, this thing shuts down our entire board. But literally, the best thing about it is you normally end on Little Knight or like Retin, right? And then like both those 2 cards will solve this card. And then it really just bounced something for free. And if you have Charles equipped with the, never mind. I just read real quick. I thought it targeted. It does not target, which is good. But anyway, for the final card, Baron the Floor. Sometimes you have hands where you can't make double Charles because you're lacking equip spells or resources. But you do have like a level 1 tuner and stuff, so you can make Baron. I always try to end on Baron or double Charles because Baron negates activation. So like if they have those blowout spells, like Baron negating the bait spells stops them from just like Angel Ring from negating them. But moving on to the side deck. Side deck is always up to your personal meta. But anyway, I play 3 Gamma Seal, 3 DDR. I play 3 Droll, Harpies, and 2 Lightning Storms, and then 3 Evenly Match. DD Crow is there for tier elements. It underperformed significantly for me. I do believe if I'm moving forward, especially for like my local area, I might put in like Dark Luna more. Gamma, like this is all like trauma deck building, right? Like Gamma Seals could be Nib, but I would always see Nib as my 6th card, so I'd rather rip a Kaiju as my 6th to immediately solve a card. Yeah, it's not as impactful as a Nib, but if you're talking about drawing your 6th card, this card's way more impactful as your 6th card than Nib would be. This also like checks Pearly because they make the Noir and you distribute it. DD Crow, like I said, was here for tier. Very underperformed. I used it against Unchained. It pretty much did not do enough against Unchained. Same logic as if you don't open 2 forms of disruption, 1 hand trap's not enough. Whereas if this happened to be like Dark Ruler No More or something like that, it definitely would have done more in the long run. Droll, I think, has to be in here. Droll literally is just, it stops so much stuff. Lightning Storms and Evenlies. The Evenlies and Lightning Storms can definitely be alternated between breaking combo boards and breaking back row boards. Especially their set 5 or whatever. We do have some like Labyrinth, we do have some Eldritch at my local, so like it's definitely for that for sure. I definitely believe if you are going to move anything out, you would just move the Lightning Storms and maybe the Harpies, because I know a lot in the YCS people weren't playing a lot of back row removal. But with the Centurion deck coming in, it might be worth playing Cosmic Cyclones again. But anyway, that's it for the side deck. Remember, your side deck has to be tuned to your locals and to the event that you're going to. So anyway, that's it for my deck profile. I ended up, like I said, going 7-1. Deck performed phenomenal. Other than that, if you guys enjoy this stuff, please remember to give a comment, like, and subscribe. But without further ado, you guys stay safe and stay healthy. This is Charles from Team COG, signing out.